What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTB Ravens Media, bringing you Ravens content every single day. And as always, if you want to see that Ravens daily content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. And a big thing that I will point out before I even get into this video, given my opinions, these are my opinions. If you disagree, I love that. I love when people disagree. As football fans, we love to be able to talk, and that's what makes it a lot of fun. So in the comments down below, let me know your thoughts on Marvin Jones possibly coming to the Ravens and everything that I talk about in this video. And if you see other people's comments, talk to them. I mean, this is just a fun place where everybody can talk to each other in the comment section, voice our opinions on different subjects. So like I said, we're talking about Marvin Jones because the Ravens have reportedly been interested in Marvin Jones. They will target Marvin Jones, and I don't like it. I'm not a fan. I'll preface this by saying Marvin Jones is a good football player. He can succeed, and I think he will succeed, where he goes. However, I do not think that the Baltimore Ravens would be the best place to get him. For the Ravens, I think many of you know, or at least people that have viewed past videos of mine know that I don't really want to go after a wide receiver this offseason because I believe in what the Ravens have. But looking at Marvin Jones and kind of, giving him a chance and just looking at what he could bring to the table, he's a relatively big-bodied kind of possession receiver, doesn't have crazy speed. He's 30 years old, so nothing crazy, or he's actually 31. But you look at what he'll bring to the table, and he'll give you size, and he'll give you hands, and he'll give you a lot of experience, which is all solid things that the Ravens need. However, you look at his statistics, and they look solid. I think people will point out in the last 4 seasons, he's had 3 9-touchdown seasons. That's very good. Scoring touchdowns, great. Big benefit for the Ravens. Last year, he had 978 yards, and you may think that's solid. He's a wide receiver too. Those are very good numbers. So Kenny Golladay only played 5 games last year, so Marvin Jones is pretty much the wide receiver one, and he only put up 978 yards. That's not good, especially when you're playing with an elite quarterback like a Matthew Stafford. I'm a firm believer in Matthew Stafford. I think he's probably a top 7, top 8 quarterback in the NFL, and if his number one wide receiver is not even putting up a 1,000-yard season. And it's not like they're a running team. I mean, they pass the ball, and it's Matthew Stafford. And if you can't put up 1,000 yards, that's something that really concerns me. Because if he's not putting up good numbers with an elite passing quarterback in a passing offense, what is he going to do in Baltimore? He'd be I wouldn't want him over Hollywood Brown. The problem with Marvin Jones is that he doesn't have that explosiveness. The Ravens offense is built around players with explosiveness. We no longer have Mark Ingram. Shout out to Mark Ingram, signed his contract with Houston, but we no longer have him. We've got Gus Edwards, J.K. Dobbins, Lamar Jackson, Hollywood Brown, Devin Duvernay, and Mark Andrews. All of those players, when they get in space, are very, very good. Mark Andrews, obviously, as a tight end, is not as good as the other players, but you give those guys space, they will take off. Marvin Jones doesn't have that type of big play ability. I think all of us probably remember Lamar Jackson's first start in 2019. That first touchdown pass, it wasn't a deep bomb. It wasn't anything like that. It was a slant route on an RPO to Hollywood Brown, who just curves it right up the middle of the field, touchdown. That's what the Ravens offense needs to have. They don't need to have, crazy schemes and everything like that. They just need explosiveness. And that's what they have. And bringing in Marvin Jones and having him, that's why Willie Snead also struggled, was because he didn't have that explosiveness. That's why so many Ravens fans were calling for Devin Duvernay, because he did have that. Marvin Jones would come in and, yeah, he'd get you receptions, but he wouldn't be able to get those receptions, turn it into a big play. He wouldn't be able to do it. And I think a lot of Ravens fans look at, past signings of the Ravens, bringing in Anquan Bolden. I think it's a great comparison. I think that's a great comparison. However, the Ravens ran a very different offense back then. Their offense, when they brought in Anquan Bolden, was a run-heavy, play-action, deep threat scheme. Joe Flacco would hand the ball off to Ray Rice or, whoever was, behind him at the time. And he would hand it off. Boom, play action, deep shot, Torrey Smith. Great stuff. It was a solid offense. It wasn't the best offense of all time, but it was solid. They won a Super Bowl with that offense. And Anquan Bolden came in because they didn't have any sort of intermediate threat. All they had was like a deep threat passing game, and then obviously checkdowns to Ray Rice. particularly 4th and 29. But you bring in Anquan Bolt, all of a sudden they had that, intermediate type of player. Yeah, that's solid, but that's because their offense, they still needed the medium routes. The Ravens have guys that can run routes, run medium routes. The problem is they don't call medium routes. Greg Roman doesn't put people on 15-yard in routes and things of that nature. That's just not what the Ravens offense really does. What they do is they try and go very low. They run the ball, obviously, so they try and have explosive plays through the run game, but then they try and keep it very simple. And Marvin Jones doesn't have the explosiveness to make a simple play turn into a big play, and that's what I'm not a big fan of. But 978 yards isn't something where it's like, oh, he's bad. It's just something that I was looking at as like, okay, he's not really a great wide receiver one, because with a premier quarterback wasn't even able to have a 1,000-yard season as that wide receiver one. So now you can kind of look at it and be like, okay, so should we bring him in? Because yes, he would bring a new element. What I've been trying to say hasn't been that he's not good, hasn't been that he's not, going to succeed. Like if he came to Baltimore, I honestly see him doing what Willie Snead did, which is come in, make some catches over the middle, and go down. And you look at how much money he's going to get paid. His spot track market value is at $10 million. Do we really want to pay $10 million a year to a wide receiver that, one, isn't getting any younger? He's going to be slowing down. He's had injuries in the past. It's not a major concern, but he's definitely slowing down. And this is a very young offense. Yes, he brings, but he's not big plays. And he's going to provide the Willie Snead role, which was like, meh. Like, I don't know what to tell you. And it would be different because I think people may be looking at people that have watched my other videos are maybe looking at me like, maybe I'm being hypocritical. Because I've expressed a lot of interest in drafting Rashad Bateman. Rashad Bateman, not fast. But Rashad Bateman has a lot more size to him. That's one of the issues with Marvin Jones is, yeah, he's kind of a big body, physical wide receiver, but he's not that big. He's about 6'2", which is solid size, but it's nothing like a Mike Williams, a Kenny Golladay type where a full jump ball situation, you'd be able to look at Marvin Jones and be like, boom, send him down the sideline. He'll be able to jump up and he'll be able to make that, a spectacular catch. He's not that type of player. He'll make good catches. He'll make contested catches, but he's not going to be able to streak down the sideline. Throwing jump balls isn't something that you want to, hang your hat on with him. So what he would bring you is just, like I said, it would be Willie Snead for $10 million a year. And that's just not something that I think that the Ravens should go after, even though I think Marvin Jones is still a good player. I think he could have a lot of success, with another team. I think Cleveland has expressed interest in him, and other teams. There are a few that are going after him, but with what the Ravens would be going for, I mean, like I said, Willie Snead 2.0. I mean, he would be better, but that's kind of the things that he would be doing. And it's like, the problem with Willie Snead was we didn't want him on the field. Like, we wanted Devin Duvernay to come in because he was explosive. We wanted Prochet to come in to make those contested catches. Now, the issue is, Miles Boykin, what are we going to do with him? In my opinion, address it in the draft, get a player that can do what Miles Boykin should have been able to do, whether it's Bateman or a Simi Fehoko or a Terrence Marshall Jr. One of those players, boom. Fix that, and Marvin Jones would come in and he would take away snaps from the explosive players. Because if we look at what the Ravens were so good at in 2019, they were the best explosive play offense in the NFL. Whether it was in the passing game or the running game, every time a player got the ball, there was a good chance for a big play. When Marvin Jones steps onto that field, that decreases, which is sad because I'm not a Marvin Jones hater, but I just want the Ravens to have explosive players, and Marvin Jones doesn't have that explosiveness. He's played with a premier quarterback, and he hasn't even put up insane numbers. He's never been to a Pro Bowl. He's had one 1,000-yard season, and it was, 4 years ago in 2017 as a number one. But then Kenny Golladay came, and he became a number one wide receiver 2 years after Kenny Golladay came, and he is a still not a 1,000-yard receiver. So Marvin Jones, I like you. I'm rooting for Marvin Jones as long as he doesn't go to the AFC North. I mean, I'm not going to root against him, but I don't want Willie Snead 2.0 on my team. If you think it could be more, let me know down in the comment section down below. If you think, he's going to be better than Willie Snead, or if you agree with me. If you think he's, Willie Snead, let me know down in the comments and just comment something like Willie Snead 2.0, because that's what I think he'd be, which is unfortunate, but not a fan of Marvin Jones coming to the Ravens. I am a fan of Marvin Jones in general, though, but sorry, not a good fit, not a fan. Like I said earlier in the video, subscribe if you want to see daily Ravens content. Make sure to stay tuned for Mock Draft Monday, because that will be coming back. Thank you everybody who liked my video, commented on that, saying that they like the idea for Mock Draft Monday. So that'll be coming on Monday. Thank you. I'll see you all again next time.